presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
The 162-game MLB schedule is necessarily full of highs and lows. And with the Rays coming off a frustrating 3-game sweep at the hands of the Texas Rangers, they look to turn the page. Tonight, Evan Longoria and the Rays welcome the AL East rival Baltimore Orioles to begin a 3-game set. Tonight, the Rays play game number 100 of the championship season, and they're looking to turn things around. Dropping 4 in a row tonight, they will open a 3-game series playing host to the Baltimore Orioles. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Good to have you looking in. We'll hear from Alex Cordery throughout the evening as well. Well, this little tailspin for the Rays now leaves them still in the wild card hunt. They're tied in a virtual tie with Kansas City for the second wild card spot. And tonight they're going to turn to a hot bat, Steven Souza Jr., trying to get the Rays started back in the win column here with Baltimore in town.
Well, for Steven Souza Jr., let's go back a few weeks. His last 18 games, and ironically enough, this streak started in Baltimore against the Orioles, had a great series there, and has ridden that for the last 18 games. .313 average. The on-base percentage is at .397, so he's still taking his walks, but the extra base hit is what jumps out at you. 4 doubles, but 6 home runs to go along with 12 runs driven in, and right now hammering balls out over the plate. That confidence level sky high, and he is in the midst of a career year. On the other side, Kevin Gausman, this guy, his last 2 outings, has figured out this Rays offense, and that is limit your walks. When you look at the numbers, 2-0 record, no runs allowed, opponent's average very, very good. 14 2/3 innings, he's given up just the 6 hits, but only 2 walks. He's got a very lively arm, good stuff, and when he limits walks, he has very good outings.
As we mentioned earlier, the Rays very much in the wild card race, and Alex Cordery will examine that in a moment. It is very crowded.
watching Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun, and as you heard Dwayne Stott say, it is game 100 for the Tampa Bay Rays. With 62 games remaining, the wild card race is heating up, especially in the American League, which is as tight as ever. And here's how it all stacks up. Take a look. You can see that the Rays dropped a game behind the New York Yankees in the AL wildcard race and fell into a tie with Kansas City for the second wildcard position. You can see the teams are all on the hot heels of each other, and the Orioles are still in it, just 3.5 games out. As Brad Miller knows, this is a big series for Tampa Bay.
Obviously, throughout the year, it's always going to be super competitive, and as a team, you want to be right in the thick of it. So it's been fun. I think we've been playing, pretty competitive, and we got a lot of good things going on. So it's just such a long season. It's there's ups and downs, but obviously to be in there, to kind of be in the hunt is exactly where we want to be.
Just where they want to be. So we're getting you set for the first of 3 between the Rays and Orioles here at Tropicana Field as Tampa Bay plays their 100th game of the season. First pitch is coming your way next when we return right here on Fox Sports Sun.
Rays send the left-hander Blake Snell to the mound to open this series against the Baltimore Orioles. Individually, another big outing for Snell. Collectively, a big game for the Rays after being swept by Texas, and they've dropped 4 straight. We'll take a look at the starting lineup for Baltimore, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Adam Jones will again lead it off for Baltimore, followed by Manny Machado and Jonathan Scope, who's been red hot, by the way. Mark Trumbo's at first. Trey Mancini hits 5th and left. The DH is Wellington Castillo, catching Caleb Joseph. Ruben Tejada is the shortstop. Joey Rickard is in right field, batting 9th.
Well, and for Blake Snell, an opportunity here tonight, making his 12th start of the season, an opportunity to pick up that first win of the season, and an opportunity to get some of that bad taste out of the mouth of the Rays after a tough weekend series against the Texas Rangers. And he will be going up against a team here in Baltimore that he has only started against, only seen one other time, and that was in September of last season.
The first hitter to face him is Adam Jones, hitting .273 with 18 home runs, and he goes for the first pitch, shoots it deep into right field, and that's going to one-hop the wall. Jones on his way to second, and he's in there standing with a double. Jones not wasting any time. This Baltimore lineup aggressive anyway, and right from the get-go, that's still true tonight.
And that's what Blake Snell's going to have to watch, because this is a very aggressive lineup. They love the fastball. They know they've got a pitcher on the mound who has struggled with command issues, so they know that he wants to be out over the plate. So they will be looking for that fastball, and anything out over, just like this, they're going to take a big swing at. And Adam Jones able to get that one the other way into the corner. An immediate threat.
It is Manny Machado. Hitting .238, but .299 with men in scoring position, and he's after the first pitch fastball, fouling it away. Strike one. The Orioles as a team will terrorize a pitcher with men in scoring position, but as we discussed just before going on, getting as many men in scoring position as they like has been a challenge.
Yeah, they have the best batting average with runners in scoring position in the American League.
Pitch bounces in, and over to third goes Jones, so he's there now with nobody out.
And they, at .293, Houston Astros are second at .292. So, obviously a 1-point lead. However, the difference is this: Baltimore Orioles have 696 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Houston, 928. And so that's the difference. They just don't get as many opportunities. They're very good in those situations. They just don't get the same opportunities because of the way that their team is built.
Now 1-1 to Machado. And he fouls it back, 1-2. Another mid-90s fastball.
And you think about this offense, and it really has been the same story for the past, 5, 6, 7 years. A lot of power. They don't take many walks. They don't run.
And a cut and a miss. Machado out on strikes. Big strikeout for Snell.
Yeah, well, he used that fastball to get ahead. And once he's able to do that, now all of a sudden you go to the slider. And the slider has a lot of depth to it. Throws it hard, and Manny Machado just cannot lay off.
Here's Jonathan Scope. Well, he's been red hot, as we mentioned earlier, in the American League Player of the Week, hitting .433 with 16 runs batted in. That's a busy week. And the first pitch is that fastball, well placed for a strike.
Well, he's third in the AL in runs batted in with 70. In fact, you go through the lineup. The first 5 hitters in the order all have at least 50 runs batted in.
And a foul ball. 0-2, so he's ahead here of Scope.
Well, and this is huge for Blake, because you got an opportunity to go for the strikeout now. That runner on third was with nobody out. The Rays were conceding that run. No longer are they. Everybody comes in now with 2 strikes.
This one is foul back. Pitch up and into him.
Let's take a quick run through the Rays defense, brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield, left to right, we're going to have Dickerson, Smith, and Souza Jr. And then across that infield, third to first, Longoria, Echeverria, Beckham, and Morrison. Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
So an important battle right here. Jones opened with the double, wild pitch to third, 1 out. And now the 0-2 to Scope. And again, he comes in there up and in, and he fouls it back.
Well, and he's come up there with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball a couple of times, and now you start to think about that same slider that he threw to Manny Machado. You buzz a guy, you know, up there close where he's got to get the bat started quickly, and you think about playing the slider right off of that. And he's already shown that to be a pretty sharp pitch here tonight.
And he tries it, and it's down and in. Playing off for a ball. Jonathan Scope, 1-2.
You know, that slider may have been just a little bit further down than Blake wanted, because it was in and out of the zone so quickly that it allowed Scope the opportunity to take it. Even so, you could come back with it. You could come back with another fastball. There's still a lot of options here at 1-2.
Into the dirt. Blocked this time by Ramos. So a couple sliders ahead in the count, and now it's 2-2.
Yeah, just trying to overthrow that pitch a little bit too much. You know, he's amped up right now, realizes that he's close to being able to put Scope away. And you got to, I'll tell you, give a lot of credit to Wilson Ramos, because those last 2 blocks weren't very easy.
Scope 368 with men in scoring position. And Ramos and Snell try to figure out how to retire this guy. And a swing and a miss. Ball loose. Ramos down to first, out there, and holding at third, the base runner Jones. Snell strikes out Scope, and so with 2 outs, a man still at third.
Well, you let your mind wander here, and you look at this slider, and Scope able to lay off the first 2, not this one, and that one actually bounced right in front of the plate and gets by Ramos, finds it quickly, makes the throw, and keeps Adam Jones right there at third base. But you let your mind wander just a little bit, Dwayne, and you think Blake Snell can get out of this inning. What a confidence boost it will be.
Now there's Mark Trumbo, the big bat to get. First pitch, slider down, 1-0.
You've got a young pitcher out there who's looking for anything to hang his hat on, his confidence hat on. And it has been a struggle for Blake this season.
And it's against a red-hot lineup.
Yeah.
They were averaging a little over 4.6 runs a game for the year, but 6.5 since the All-Star break. Fastball upstairs. Now it's 2-0.
What was impressive too was the runner at third with nobody out. Infield was all playing back. They were playing back with 1 out until he got to 2 strikes. So he did all that work himself to get into this position here. A couple of strikeouts.
And a cut and a miss, went fastball up again. And a chase by Trumbo ahead in the count, 2-0.
Yeah, this is not your typical 2-0 swing either. Mark Trumbo trying to get on top of that and just almost force that swing. That ball well out of the zone.
Two outs, a man at third. 2-1 the count. That's a strike. 2-2.
If he gets that pitch, this lineup does not have a chance. I mean, that ball was off the plate in at 95. Who's getting to this? Nobody.
Joe West liked it. That's all that matters.
God bless Joe West.
And how. 2-2 the count. And a fly ball, little popper, short left center, and out goes Echeverria. He's got it. And Snell pitches out of the spot. Bottom of the first coming up. No score. for the Baltimore Orioles, with the Rays coming in to hit. Take a look at the starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Steven Souza Jr. will lead it off, followed by Corey Dickerson in left, and then Evan Longoria at third. Logan Morrison at first. Wilson Ramos behind the plate. Brad Miller will be the DH, hitting seventh and playing second. Tim Beckham. Malik Smith in center field, and Adeiny Echeverria, the shortstop, will bat ninth.
Kevin Gausman 6-7 on the season, ERA of 6.11 in 106 innings, but he's coming off of a start against the Texas Rangers. His last time out, just saw that team, went 6 strong innings, gave up 1 earned run in picking up that 6th win.
And Steven Souza Jr. with 20 home runs on the year, a career high, will start the bottom of the first for the Rays against Gausman. Swing through the fastball, strike one. Broken bat, the base hit right back through the middle, and the Rays put the leadoff man aboard. Well, there's a start for the Rays here in the bottom of the first.
Let's take a look at the Baltimore defense. Wait for it. Here it is. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. In the outfield, left to right, we have Trey Mancini, Adam Jones, and Joey Rickard. Across the infield, third to first, Manny Machado, Ruben Tejada, Jonathan Scope, and Mark Trumbo, with Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
Runner at first. Here's Corey Dickerson. Dickerson beginning the night hitting .308, and he takes a pitch away. Third in the league in total hits, and 0 for 8 in his career against the 26-year-old right-hander. This pitch covered up by Joseph. 2-0. Base runners have been an issue for Gausman. When you look at his numbers from a year ago, when he made 30 starts with a .361 earned run average, and this year through 21 starts, .611. A lot more base runners.
Well, when you look at just the splits in batting average against opponent batting average, left-handers and right-handers, he's not having success really against either one. Both hitting him just about the same for a lot of power. 9 home runs given up to lefties, 10 given up to righties. And a lot of it is bad counts. You know, he has a high walk total, and that's really where you walk a lot of guys, but even the guys that you don't walk, you put yourself in bad counts, and hitters are taking advantage.
It's a strike. It's 3-1.
Even this at bat right here, kind of nibbling around the zone, not really challenging Corey Dickerson.
He is 1 walk away from issuing as many walks as he walked all of last year. He got 106 innings. He threw 179 innings last year. Now full count.
Sometimes it just comes down to confidence in attacking the zone. And you get hit around a little bit early in the year, and then subconsciously you find yourself really nibbling and pitching to the edges, not being as aggressive. And boy, that sometimes a recipe for disaster.
3-2, and that's fouled out in front of Charlie Montoyo down toward the bullpen. Dickerson got ahead 3-0. Now the count is full. And a cut and a miss. So he's out on strikes.
Yeah, Corey Dickerson just having a hard time at the plate right now. Some of these fastballs, you're used to seeing him foul these pitches off. You know, maybe a pitch like this that's missed, he's driving that with authority the other way. And right now, just the swing through, just a little bit underneath it. Missing pitches that he normally hits hard.
Well, here's Evan Longoria. 14 home runs for Evan. One career home run against the right-hander Gossman. That's a foul ball right back off the catcher Joseph. Evan 7 of 27 against Gossman, along with that home run. Wide. 1-1.
Well, the fastball, a firm 93, and at times he can get some good late movement to it. Hand action out in front. Slider, a split that he likes to get to.
And there's a fastball in and up.
Yeah, that's one of those fastballs that reads 93, 94, but it plays a little bit harder. That ball's got some jump to it. And you see he drives this one up and in. That's where you had to get it, close to those hands above the bat.
Evan pops it up. Foul ball, first base side. That's going to be back in the dugout. Bottom of the first, Baltimore got a leadoff double from Jones. He was wild pitched to third with nobody out and left stranded. 1-2 here on Evan Longoria. So Junior back to first. Rays saw Gossman the 2nd of July in Baltimore. The Orioles handed the Rays a 7-1 loss. Ground ball back at third, backhanded Machado. What a play out at second and out at first, and what a double play started by Machado back of third base. An unbelievable backhand, and then what a throw to second.
Best double play we've seen this year, hands down. You may go back a couple of years. He backhands it going up, I mean, headed this way, foul territory. How do you get your body contorted to make that throw?
5-4-3 on the double play. What a play it was. And he made an unbelievable play to end the first inning on what appeared to be a double. And it turns out to be a double play.
I mean, that ball, first of all, was hit hard. Manny Machado gets to it, number one, and how in the world does he make that throw to second base right on the money to start that double play? He's one of the few, if maybe not the only, third baseman that can make that play. We've seen him make unbelievable throws from that position, from in foul territory, but that one right there, for me, that takes the cake, getting all the way back around to second base.
1-1 to Mancini. Yeah, that's your extraordinary play and then some. This one is foul, 1 and 2. To have the control of his body to make the play and get rid of the throw.
And then watch Jonathan Scope. Watch the strength on this throw. One leg and not able to step into it at all, and still gets enough to get Evan Longoria. All the way around, those guys were fantastic.
Roller to first and on Mancini, and he's out Morrison unassisted.
I mean, he looked like a scarecrow out there at second base and fires a dart over to first after that gentleman right there gets it started. That was a line drive, one hopper up the line. Extra bases, you're right.
A very, very difficult, seemingly impossible task to get the double play. And they made it flawlessly. Wellington Castillo after the ground out to first from Mancini. And there's a strike on the outside corner. Joe West showing early here that if you can keep the ball around the edges of the plate, he might widen that zone a little bit. Ground ball. And the throw to first. Echeverria takes care of that. You know, we've seen some great plays out of this young man, Adeiny Echeverria. No sooner had he joined the team when he made that great play up the middle here. So a great play by the Rays shortstop, and we see them all the time. And then this play by Machado at third. I mean, those are plays in a completely different stratosphere than what you're going to see in a long, long time. Joseph, Caleb Joseph takes it for a ball, 1-0. One. Two ground ball outs. Ball, 2 strikes.
Those are the pitches right there that will be effective for Blake Snell when he's pumping the zone full of strikes. And that's what he's been doing after that leadoff double to Adam Jones. He went to work. And he is filling up that strike zone, both sides of the plate, too.
And he just missed a little bit right there. Fastball in.
Very, very close.
Two outs, bases empty. And a full count to Caleb Joseph. That's a little base hit the other way. Softly hit into short right. And Souza Jr. in to make the pickup. Just enough contact to get it through.
Yeah, just kind of gorfed that ball out there. That was a changeup by Blake Snell in the full count. And right off the end of the bat and just happened to place it perfectly. There's the change. And there is the contact. I mean, right off the edge of that bat. That's why that ball had such a funny trajectory to it. Blake Snell, yeah, hate giving those hits up.
Now Tejada, Ruben Tejada, the shortstop. Fastball but wide. 1 ball, no strikes. It's on the corner. 1-1. Two-out single, putting the Baltimore catcher aboard. Upstairs. Fastball around 94. Joey Rickard, the on-deck hitter. Take the count even. Snell in his last outing on the road in Oakland worked 4 innings, made 85 pitches and left allowing 3 runs.
And that start too may have rattled Blake Snell's cage, because that was a start that we expected him to go out for the 5th, and Kevin Cash said no, they're coming out after 4. And that'll get a pitcher's attention quicker than anything else. And then you start to think, well, wait a minute. If he's willing to pull me out after 4 innings, 85 pitches, you know, not like he's given up 7 or 8 runs, but if he's willing to do that, how much closer am I to maybe not being here? And I'll tell you something, he has come out on fire here tonight. The body language has been better. His tempo has been better. And he's been better with the strikes. We'll see if he can continue it.
The dirt, so the count is full. 2-2 slider, and now the count goes to 3-2. Well, he came back with the idea of turning things around and really anticipated the last time out was going to be the time when it all changed for him, and he went 4. So he may have greater determination this time to stay in the game longer. 2, and he pops him up. Shallow center. Smith there waiting and making the catch for the out. No run to hit, a man left through an inning and a half. No score. Rays Baseball on Fox Sports Sound is brought to you by your local Ford dealer and by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. 36 pitches through the first 2. No score. Blake Snell on the hill for the Rays. Kevin Gossman doing the pitching For Baltimore tonight, Logan Morrison will lead off against the Oriole right-hander. It's ball one all the way to the screen. One and one. Morrison 2 out of 8 against Gossman to start play tonight. Swings through this one. Fastball up a little bit, up out of the zone. Morrison 0 for 9 in the Texas series. He drew 4 walks in that series. Balls, 2 strikes.
Tried to come right back in there with that fastball. That was awfully close. Just in and off. That's where you want to go. If Logan Morrison, the fastball, you're going to want to elevate it. Right there, the split.
It's all full count. Foul off the 3-2 fastball. Gossman lifetime 4-4 against the Rays with a .421 earned run average. It's 5 starts, a couple relief appearances as well, and here he's 2-2 with a .483 here at the Trop. Takes that high fastball and fouls it the other way out of play.
Watching the development of Kevin Gossman has been, I think, frustrating for a lot of people in the Baltimore Oriole organization. You see the stuff that he has. You see the games that he's capable of pitching. The last 2 outings against the Rays, for an example, his last time out against the Rangers.
And that is strike 3 call on the inside corner.
At 97. I'll tell you what, the way that he moved the ball around the zone there, changing speeds a couple of times, and then all of a sudden closes you in. And they wanted that ball up, but it didn't matter. At that velocity and that location, wasn't much you're going to be able to do with it.
Well, he was drafted out of Louisiana State and was the number 4 pick overall in the 2012 draft. So the Orioles immediately had high expectations for him. And to get him on track has been a little bit of a challenge during his career so far in Baltimore. Off speed to Ramos for a strike.
It's been marked by wild swings of inconsistency. You know, he'll have an outing where he'll go out, go 7 shutout against the Rays, and then the next time out give up, 6 runs, 5 earned in 4 innings against the Twins. And then the Cubs get him for 8 earned runs in 3 innings. Then he starts against Texas, 6 innings, 1 earned run. A lot of highs and a lot of lows.
2-1 here to Ramos. Well, you look at his last couple starts. That start against Texas, around 4 hits, 6 innings. That came off 3 innings against the Cubs. 8 runs in that one. 1 start to the next. Takes the count to 2-2. He'd struggled against the Twins the time before, but the 2 starts prior to that against the Blue Jays and the Rays, nothing. And a swing and a miss by Ramos. So 3 strikeouts here in the first 5 men he faces. And he has moved the fastball around.
He certainly has, with good velocity. This one at 95 and elevated. This is such a big pitch in the game now, with guys trying to get the ball into the air and having a hard time laying off the high fastball. Actually, the high fastball's been a big part of the game, a good pitch in the game for a long time. But it seemed like forever you were taught down in the zone, everything at the knees. Outside corner at the knees. You came up and in to move a guy, but didn't pitch out over the plate with elevation as much as we see today.
Yeah, there's a much greater emphasis on that, I think, than ever before.
Yeah.
You'd see pitchers who were really in the minority, in a small minority of pitchers who had great stuff up and would challenge. It was a special event to see a guy pitch that way. Most everybody else, what you're talking about, trying to keep the ball down, move it around, change speeds, use the fastball smartly, something extra on that. But to consistently be up was not all that common. And now it's gotten to the point where even when you don't see guys throwing 96 or 97, they're pitching up.
Yeah, that's the old spin rate coming into play.
And he has Miller reaching over this one. So the split got him, and Gausman strikes out the side.
Sports Sun. Good news for center fielder Kevin Kiermaier. The Rays skipper Kevin Cash said earlier today that Kiermaier is likely to begin a rehab assignment in Port Charlotte by this weekend. Now, Kiermaier went on the DL on June 9th with a right hip fracture, but the last several days he's increased his baseball-related activities, running and shagging fly balls. Dwayne, certainly good to hear his return is on the horizon.
Yeah, and he thinks he's right on schedule. I think the 9th he is scheduled to come off the DL, and he is hopeful of being ready as soon as he's eligible to come off the DL. There's Rickard sending one into right center on the second pitch of the inning, and Souza Jr. runs it down. That's the first out.
Well, what a boost that would be to this team offensively, defensively, and it's going to give Kevin Cash a thicker bench to work with. You plug him, he's a plug-and-play guy.
You're right. He gets a thicker bench, but he also gets a thicker lineup, because you'll have Kiermaier, who not only has that speed, but he has some pop in that bat. We talked about it the other day, potentially what the Rays lineup could be like, top to bottom. And it could be a tough lineup to try to work your way through. Here's Adam Jones taking a pitch for a strike. Breaking ball dropping in there. Machado will be next. Jones opened the game with a double. The first pitch of the game, then was wild pitched over to third. He was there with nobody out in the first. As Snell struck out Machado and eventually Scope, and then got Trumbo on the popper into shallow left center field that Echeverria handled. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nice pitch there. Boy, we are seeing some impressive pitches here from Blake Snell.
Well, we talked about it in the first inning when he punched those 2 guys out with the runner at third. Hey, could this be a springboard? You talk about a confidence builder, and I'm telling you, he's had a different look out there on the mound. That one got it.
There's one to left. Fastball turned around by Jones, and it's 1-0 Baltimore.
And here's the thing, this is the test. This is the test right here, because he has had a different tempo, a different look about him out on the mound attacking the zone. And so you give up a solo home run, so what? That's not going to beat you on most nights. So how he responds from here will tell you an awful lot about that confidence and if it can stay high. He comes with a fastball in, and I'll tell you something, that's something that we remarked about in between innings, is the number of fastballs in he has thrown here in the early going. That's the aggressive, you know, version of the fastball where you're challenging a guy in, and it's almost like, hey, go out there and pound these guys with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball in, send a message, and it puts you in a more aggressive mindset. That one Adam Jones just happened to get.
A nice changeup to start Machado for a strike. So the message is stay aggressive.
Yes, absolutely. Now that doesn't mean you have to just stay with pounding fastballs in, but what that does, as many as he threw the first time through the order, it puts you in an aggressive mindset because it's an aggressive version. It's a high risk, high reward fastball. And you know that if you don't quite get it to your spot, what Adam Jones just did is possible, especially with this lineup.
Take the count to 2-2 on Machado.
Well, the other thing it does too is many guys that saw that pitch and saw it multiple times, it starts to open up the outside part of the plate.
It's a little tapper foul to Jones, coming in off a 4-hit day yesterday. Has 2 hits, a double and a home run, so he's in one of those streaks where he's red hot. 2-2 to Machado. And a popper out from second goes Beckham, and right in front of Suzy Jr. makes the catch for out number 2 in the 3rd inning. Two outs, bases empty with a run home, and now another hot hitter, Jonathan Scope, who Snell struck out with a man at 3rd in the 1st inning. 70 runs batted in for Scope, 3rd in the league. Fouling the fastball for a strike. American League Player of the Week, Jonathan Scope. It's in there, 0-2. More of a variety from Snell. Chopped to short, Echeverria gloves and throws. And the Orioles out in the 3rd, a home run from Jones, and it's 1-0 Baltimore. Leads. We got to the bottom of the third. $2 Kids Tuesday presented by Morgan Auto Group continues tomorrow when the Rays take on the Orioles. You can purchase $2 tickets for kids 14 and under with the purchase of a full price adult ticket. All fans can get $2 hot dogs presented by KM Franks. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit raysbaseball.com/specials. Well, the bottom three due up for the Rays in the third. Beckham, Smith, and Echeverria against Gossman. And there's a base hit. Breaking ball on the first pitch. And it's lined into left. So Beckham has the second hit for the Rays.
And Gossman came right there with a little get me over breaking ball. And Tim Beckham was having none of it. Hang that pitch out over the plate, try to get ahead. And he just strokes it into left field, and a nice start here for the Rays in the third.
Rays put the leadoff man on in the first and eventually lost him on that unbelievable double play started by Machado at third. Now Beckham's aboard in the third inning. Alex Smith up there. And shows bunt and misses it. Strike one. Machado very cozy down at third with Smith at the plate.
And why not? He's more than capable of pulling the bunt with him and bunting the other way. Manny Machado trying to take that away.
Strike two on the inside corner. Smith, a .291 average to start play tonight. Has seen Gossman before, 1 of 3 against him. Down right now in the count, fouls this one out of play. Gossman's whip numbers much higher this year than a year ago when those walks and hits per inning stood at 1.28, 1.75 coming into this game this year.
That is just unsustainable. Well, I shouldn't say unsustainable. Unsustainable in the sense of staying in the rotation. And I'll tell you, we talk about it all the time. Limit whip for, you know, people out there, walks, hits per innings pitch. You talk about limiting base runners, you limit scoring opportunities. But if it's approaching 2 hitters an inning on base, you're going to give up a ton of runs. And that's exactly what's happened with that ERA of over 6. That is, you see how many hits have been given up. Coming in 139 in 106 innings. The 46 walks on top of that.
And the Orioles counting on him. He is right now their second leading workhorse in the rotation. He has 100 and, well, closing in on 110 innings right now. And the take wide. The count goes to 3-2 after getting down 0-2. There's the rotation. The highest ERA in the American League.
By plenty. Approaching 6 as a team. Obviously that helps lead to the Orioles having the worst ERA as a team in the American League.
Runner goes on ball 4. Well, there you go, a base hit, and then getting ahead of Smith and walking him. Exactly what we're talking about. And the Rays have the first 2 men on base.
Here are your 2 base runners. A base hit and a walk. This is what's plagued Gossman all season long. Frustrating for the Orioles. It comes in the bottom half of the inning after they hit a home run to take the lead at the bottom of the order.
And the number 9 man in the order, for some reason, has been a very big challenge for Gossman. The opposition hitting .316 off him anyway. You get down into the 9th spot, and it's even higher. So we'll see how the Rays play this with Echeverria. And he swings away on the first pitch, fouling it. Strike one. The number 9 hitter in the lineup this year against Gossman's hitting .400 with 3 home runs out of the 9th spot. In on him, popped up foul that will carry out a play. And Echeverria's down 0-2. Rays have some speed on the bases, and Beckham and Smith at second and first. Souza Jr. on deck. Swing and a miss. So Echeverria strikes out, swinging over that one.
Boy, he came right back with the split there at 87 miles an hour. Good down action on it, good velocity, great arm action. We saw a couple early where it seemingly the body slowed down a little bit, the arm slowed down, almost a tipping situation. But this one, he took the grip, let it rip, and picked up the strikeout.
5 strikeouts the first time through the order. 1 out here in the 3rd, and we go back to the top side, and here's Steven Souza Jr. Souza broke his bat and singled to center field his first time up. This pitch is inside. Fastball. Gossman has consistently been 95, 96 with his fastball tonight. Now 2-0.
Well, this is where you have to stay disciplined as a hitter. Souza Jr., a couple of takes here, has put himself in a good position at 2-0. And you can start to be picky at what you want to swing at.
And the fastball, he fouls it. 2-1. Souza trying to get the Rays even or more. Down 1-0. And a take there on a fastball for ball 3.
A close pitch there. There have been a lot of close pitches here in the last couple of innings that Joe West seemingly has shrunk that strike zone down a little bit from what it was early in the game.
And now the count is full.
Nothing fancy about that. A 3-1 heater right there. And Souza Jr. deciding to pass.
Sometimes you just can't believe what you see.
Well,
3-2 and a swing and a miss. A fastball a couple ticks up at 97.
He's done that a couple of times here tonight. When he's needed to, he's pitching 93, 94, and then all of a sudden he'll go grab 96, 97. They did it again. Got back to full count and then powered this one right by him. Top part of the zone.
Well, Corey Dickerson, has never had a hit against Gossman. He's 0 for 9 now, and no time like the present. Beckham, who opened with a single, went to second on the walk drawn by Malik Smith. 2 on, 2 out. Pitch is a ball. Dickerson in the top 10 with men in scoring position. Started the night at 338 with men in scoring position. That's good enough for 9th. And he gets the jump. 2-0. Now 3-0.
Saw this in the first at bat against Corey Dickerson, just nibbling away, trying to entice a swing. I mean, a lot of these teams understand that Corey Dickerson has, well, shouldn't say lately has been expanding his strike zone. He will, one of the best bad ball hitters in the game and going off the plate, but not biting here.
And there's ball 4. Everything away and well off the plate. So the bases are loaded. Beckham moves to third. Smith into second. Dickerson walks to load him, and Evan Longoria will be the hitter. So here's Evan, who made a bid for an extra base hit his first time up, and that's when Machado made that great play. And here's how good he's been in these situations.
Well, you know, nobody out, not interested. Get some runners on, okay, but boy, oh boy, you give him a chance to drive in some runs, and the eyes get big, and he's got a chance to drive in a number of them here with the bases juiced.
First pitch, Longoria swings and fouls it. Splitter stayed up a little bit.
Yeah, he wasn't going to give him the fastball, so he comes with the split, and you're right, it did not have that same finish as we saw to Echeverria. That one stayed up out over the plate and get away with it.
And a cut and a miss. A little higher there with a fastball.
So is this the 97 heater that you reach back for a little bit more, or does he come back with the split? Because he can go in either direction here, up, down, quite frankly, in or out.
Yeah, tough to defend as a hitter now.
Yep.
And it's foul. He went fastball with something extra on it and a broken bat. Again, 97, 98. So he's been able to reach back.
This is the intriguing Kevin Gossman. This is what the Baltimore Orioles see, what this kid can do with the stuff, the split. You know, when he gets on top of the slider and drives it down, the fastball where he can pitch at 94, climb to 98. I mean, those are tools that you love.
Well, again, an 0-2 pitch. And again, it's fouled up the right side. Out of play.
Starting to shorten that stroke to get to the baseball.
Braves have loaded him. A base hit, 2 walks, 2 outs, and 2 strikes on Evan Longoria. And a ground ball headed to short. Tejada up with it. The throw to second in time. Tejada battled that one and got it to second for the force on Dickerson. And so the Rays are out in the third. The Rays wanted to take a moment to check their video, but We're through 3, and here's another look at the inning-ending force at second base. It's 1-0 Baltimore. Tonight's Unlimited Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, everything going right for the Dodgers except this. Clayton Kershaw expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He felt something, you know, he was out over 2 months, 2.5 months with the herniated disc in his back last year. And initially felt something warming up. And then wound up leaving early. And so they're saying 4 to 6 weeks. Some tightness in his lower back.
Wait, when you look at his numbers too, by the way, when you do look at his numbers, do you ever see anybody when they're 15-2 talk about how wins and losses don't matter in the bigger picture of things?
Yeah.
But if you're
They
6 and 9, no, it's not about the wins.
2-1. Then you're always looking to find a way to win. Find a way to win.
Well, and he combines, well, you saw the ERA too.
Yep.
Elite stuff, pitches deep into the game, and if you're not giving anything up, you're going to win a lot of games.
3-1 the count on Mark Trumbo. Trey Mancini's on deck. Ground ball. That's going to be a base hit between Morrison and the bag. Souza Jr. over to make the pickup, and the throw back into second. Getting over there in a hurry to keep Trumbo at first.
Number 16, Trey Mancini.
Now, this is the second time in 4 innings they put the leadoff hitter on now.
Trumbo almost a little bit of a miss-hit the other way, and he had some room to work with. You're not expecting him going this way. That ball right off the end of the bat. That's the second ball. Caleb Joseph had a hit right off the end of the bat, and that one able to get down the line for a base hit.
Yeah, that was the hesitation swing there. Here's a pitch popped up, and Beckham makes the catch, and Mancini's out of there. You heard about that little hesitation pitch, and that was Trout's swing that time. Got a base hit. Mancini's out on the popper. Wellington Castillo. Castillo, the designated hitter. Only run of the game so far, the Adam Jones home run. Solo homer in the third. Ground ball to short. Echeverria, Beckham 1 and Morrison 2. 6-4-3 on a very short inning for Snell. 1-0 Baltimore. Well, our big moment, the flashback moment, our Geico great moment is the pine tar incident. Today's the anniversary. George Brett, it's back in 1983, and Brett restrained after Tim McClellan called off the home run for the pine tar infraction on the bat, and the rest was history.
Is that the greatest snap in baseball annals?
Certainly the quickest. I mean,
he was waiting for it. He was top stepping it. And when they gave the out, he, boy, did he come out of there like a.
Logan Morrison skies this one to short left field, and Mancini, I think, had a little difficulty locating it for a time, and then wound up coming in to make the catch. So Morrison is out of there.
That was that was that night. That was like that night in San Francisco. What do you mean you guys are closing? And that's kind of like what I look like. Things didn't go so well.
There was a frantic look. The pitch to Ramos is a strike. Fortunately, no video of that.
Very.
Ramos was out on a fastball up his first time, and this time the splitter down. He swings over it and is down on the count 0-2. This one is down 1-2. The classic line in that doesn't get a lot of play. Tim McClellan, the plate umpire, and he said afterward when he saw the charge, he said, I knew that he was going to hit me or run over me, and if he did, I was going to own the Kansas City Royals. It's fouled back.
Already
so
thinking game planning.
I mean, that's some quick thinking.
Yeah.
In that situation, he's thinking, own the Kansas City Royals.
Just stand your ground.
Yeah.
Stand your ground.
This one popped up. Short right, and coming in from right now, Rickard makes the catch. He had Scope out there to deal with, who peeled off.
Number 13.
Oh,
Two gone.
Yeah, you know, to be able to maintain your concentration, you can't take your eye off the ball here. We've established that fact. And then you've got Scope barreling, you know, coming back at you. But you remember that series in Baltimore. Joey Rickard was a one-man
Yes, he was.
act out in left field, playing tremendous defense. And that can be a little disconcerting getting run up on like that.
Brad Miller, and he shoots one, a little looping liner into left center field. Mancini makes the pickup. And Miller is aboard on a 2-out hit.
Well, you never know how these situations end up. You keep swinging the bat, give yourself an opportunity to extend the inning, and who knows where it goes from here. We've seen the Rays put together some innings where seemingly it looked like they were done in that half.
Well, here's Tim Beckham. You know, the Rays have had a great run, and then these last 4 games have been very frustrating. And the game will do that to you. I mean, you talk about, as we mentioned at the outset, this is the 100th game of the season, 62 to go after this. And it's a critical part of the schedule, no question. And this homestand, important for the Rays, and tough to drop 3 to Texas. Down by a run here to Baltimore. There's a foul ball, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, that was a Texas team that had lost 5 in a row coming in and been swept by these Orioles in a 4-game series in Baltimore. And that's frustrating enough to lose to a team that's on that kind of a run, but the manner in which the Rays lost all 3 games.
Well, it will test them. There's no question about that.
Very frustrating. You could hear it in Kevin Cash's voice in his post-game presser yesterday. He said all the right things, but there was a little bit of an edge to it.
Well, after they lost that first game, I saw him, and he said that one stings. That's a tough loss, the first one. He says, but you focus on winning a series, because that's what they've done. They've done a great job over the last month plus of winning series, and then to be swept makes it more difficult to deal with that one and then come back and turn it around. But I'll tell you, almost every club, unless you're just so talented and you've got a couple teams winning twice as much as they're losing, Houston and the Dodgers, but everybody else, 4 games over, 6, maybe then a couple games under, they've all gone through these, and you've just got to continue to fight your way through them. 2 is fouled. You know, the guys who really have tough decisions to make, I mean, Cass and the coaching staff, these guys on the field, they're going to make decisions every night, especially the manager. The guys upstairs trying to figure out, is this team going to be viable? And it's still in contention now for postseason. They're tied for the 2nd spot. But going forward, and they've shown that they're going to be buyers. So that thing goes back and forth.
Find the right fit at the right cost, and a lot of other people in on these players that you're in on. It's an interesting time of year. You know, we were talking to Kenny Rosenthal the other night here in the booth. If he got the same feeling like we do, that it's starting earlier and earlier every season, and you know, a lot of teams jumping in and trying to get that player for a couple of extra starts, a few extra weeks in the field. Competitive.
3-2 and a swing and a miss. Beckham is out on strikes, swinging over what appeared to be a 3-2 split. So the Rays leave a man. They do not score, and we're through 4. There's the strikeout pitch. Dipping. It's 1-0 Baltimore. 1-0 Baltimore. Blake Snell, 58 pitches so far. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Caleb Joseph leading off. The pitch is down. 1-0. Blake Snell has looked very good tonight. Touched up for the home run in the third. A solo shot by Adam Jones. Now 2-0 to Joseph. Bottom 3 in the order here.
And look how quickly he getting the ball back from Ramos, right back up on the rubber, ready to pitch. He's setting a much better tempo here in tonight's game. Even after the solo shot, thought that would be a test, and he bounced right back and went right back to hammer in the zone.
Echeverria takes care of this bouncing ball off the bat of Joseph. So 1 away in the 5th. Well, he had to pitch out of a big spot in the first when Jones doubled to start this game, and then was wild pitch to third. He was over there with nobody out.
Number 17.
A strikeout of Machado, strikeout of Scope, and they pop up by Trumbo. Left Jones in third, and then he homered his next time up in the 3rd inning. Tejada. 1 ball and no strikes, and the pitch count has been very good. Here we are, 1 out into the 5th. 62 pitches.
I mean, light years of where he has been. You know, on the season, he's at 19.1 pitches per inning coming into this start. However, had 3 starts: Pittsburgh, the Cubs, and Oakland, and over that span averaged 20 pitches an inning, even worse than he was before. But tonight, boy, does he have that thing in order.
2-0 is foul, out of play, 2-1.
I love what we've seen from him tonight, from the tempo to establishing the fastball, specifically the fastball in early in the game, giving him a more aggressive mindset, a more aggressive approach.
Foul, out of play, 2-2. Well, I think this is where he thought he was going to be a couple of starts ago. He was talking about he felt ready to turn that corner, turn it around. Well, we've seen that tonight so far, without question. Bit of that one fouled. Straight back off the bottom of the stands.
Well, if the Rays as a team are going to get where they want to get, and that's meaningful October games, playoff series, they're going to need contributions from everybody, including Blake Snell. I mean, everybody's going to have to chip in along the way. It's going to be a 25-man effort, at least until you get to September.
Ground ball, and Echeverria's there and makes the play, and down is Ramos, and I think he got part of that bat.
Yeah, that bat cracked, and he got the heavy end.
Well, the ground out by Tejada, and the bat, a broken bat, and Ramos, you can see on his feet, but they have the towels there to cover an area. And you could see just a moment ago that motion toward the dugout where Sucre starts to get ready to come in here, and as they tend to Ramos.
And you know he's asking him, he's telling Port, stitch me up. Wow. I mean, a direct shot.
So Ramos hit by that broken bat. And you think about that. I mean, this is certainly bad enough. The barrel into the bat. He had the helmet protection and the mask.
It looks to be more annoyed than anything, too, that he has come out of this game.
Here's another look.
Your attention, please.
So Tejada grounds out as Ramos forced to leave the game. You always think of two things there. Number one, the impact, and then the laceration as well. And Sucre will take over behind the plate for Ramos. Sucre is ready to go. So the bases will be empty with a couple outs here. Joey Rickard will be the hitter. And Sucre says he's ready, and Joe West says to Joey Rickard, okay, let's go.
Go time.
Yep. I'll tell you, one way working quickly helps Snell is he puts Joe West in a good frame of mind because he wants to move the game along anyway. That was that National League tradition that he came from when he first came up, which was 77, 78, somewhere in there. He's been around for a while. And they moved the games along. 2-0.
Yeah, you don't want to be on Joe West's list.
No, you don't.
The bad list.
No.
Not a good place to be. Not a good place to be.
No, he's a good friend and a guy who will move things along, and so you stay on the good side, and it's all good.
Yeah, and he'll move right along from you.
Yeah,
or move you right along.
If you don't, it's not too good.
Not too good.
3-0 the count to Joey Rickard right now. And a walk. So after that slight delay, a 4-pitch walk. And that's the first base on balls given up. So the Orioles have had one runner and no more in each inning. And now we'll go back to the top of the order, Adam Jones, who has been red hot. Double and a home run in this game. Blake Snell out of the stretch. And that's a strike. The lower part of the zone. Liner into right, hits it well. Souza Jr.'s there, makes the catch on the run as he approaches the warning track. Nicely done by Souza Jr. Souza Jr. going back just in front of the track, and a little leap and a grab to retire the side. 1-0 Baltimore. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by your Southern Chevy dealers and by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Alex Smith leads it off in the bottom of the 5th. Rays are down 1-0. Smith out in front, swings over that split that acts as a changeup. Strike one. Echeverria will be next, and then Souza Jr. Well, the Orioles have had one runner in each of the first 5. The Rays have had at least one runner in 3 of the first 4 and left the bases loaded in the 3rd inning. The shot toward left center field. Jones on the run, can't get there. One hop and to the wall. Smith around second. He's going to go for 3, and he's going to make it. Triple from Alex Smith. Well, you love to see him run when the ball's hit into the gap. And there was no question about 3 bases on that one.
Well, you typically don't have your outfielders positioned that deeply, so if he's going to burn them, and he burns them here because of a fastball left out over. We've seen Alex Smith power. We've seen him take balls out the other way. And when you do that and you get it out that deep, it's just track meet.
So Alex Smith at 3rd base to lead it off with his 3rd triple of the year. And here's Danny Echeverria. Echeverria ground ball down to 3rd. Machado's going to make the throw to 1st after making sure Alex Smith stayed at 3rd, and Smith had to make sure he got back to 3rd.
Yeah, no kidding, because Manny Machado, he's got pretty good baseball IQ over there. He fields that ground ball. His first thought is Alex Smith, and right here trying to get him. Nice job by Alex, though. A good read, able to dive back in, and then Machado makes the play to 1st.
So 1 gone with Smith at 3rd. Here's the top of the order, Steven Souza Jr. So another chance for the Rays. Golden opportunity. Souza tried to check, and he did in time. Hunter Wendelstedt concurring down at 1st.
The Orioles playing the infield back as you assume that they would with a 1-run lead. Everybody deep here, so Souza Jr. is thinking just, you know, get something on the barrel, put it into play, conceding the run. Souza Jr. with 61 runs batted in. 1 for 2 in this game. And a cut, a foul ball, foul tip right back into the mid of the catcher Joseph. Trying to keep it close to him, trying to tie him up.
And he takes ball 3. Pitch in and just upstairs. 3-1.
He's shown the ability to be able to throw that fastball in on right-handed hitters, something a lot of right-handed pitchers aren't real comfortable doing, at least as many times as Gausman has, and continue to get it in there.
Now a strike, and it's 3-2.
This is exactly what happened last time. A 3-1 fastball right down the middle that's taken for 3-2, and then he powered a fastball right by him up in the zone for strike 3.
Yeah, he gets the 2 strikes, and there's a couple extra miles per hour in that fastball.
That's what he's going for. He needs the strikeout here.
And he walks Souza Jr. this time. So he'll go to first. It'll be first and third. Corey Dickerson will have a chance.
Left fielder, Corey Dickerson.
Dickerson has struck out and walked. Cut and a miss. Going after the high fastball. Strike one. Dickerson was up there with 2 men on and 2 outs in the third and walked to load the bases, which brought Longoria to the plate. First and third with 1 out in the 5th inning. A swing and a miss. A start and a stop by Souza Jr. off first base there.
Man, that got the attention of Caleb Joseph. Another fastball, 4-seam variety. Good velocity, middle up. Able to get it over the swing of Corey Dickerson. And you expect another one. And you try to go a little bit higher. No reason to deviate. Maybe move it up a little bit.
Smith with great speed at third. Souza over at first. Dickerson fouls it. The fastball in. Count still 2 strikes.
Better get some elevation to it. And then thought in there. You grab another mile an hour or 2. Force Corey Dickerson to be even quicker, and he was able to get to that and foul it off. Something that we see him do an awful lot of.
And a little ground ball to third, down to second, 1, first base, 2 in time for the double play. And the Rays will leave a man on after the leadoff triple. The double play off the bat of Corey Dickerson ends this threat for the Rays, and they do not score. It's Machado starting to go around the horn for the double play. We're through 5, still 1-0 Baltimore.
Nursing a 1-0 lead, and Blake Snell, I'll tell you, coming out a big start for him, a big series for this team. And early on, Blake Snell very, very good, getting the strikeout there. Manny Machado, strikeout there. Jonathan Scope. Now later in the game, second time up, Adam Jones, who had doubled his first time up, hits a home run there. That's
the difference in the game right now, but settling right back down, getting some help here with his defense, softly hit, turns that into a inning-ending double play on Wellington Castilla. And Blake Snell has shown better tempo tonight, better at keeping that pitch count down, pounding the strike zone, and so far through 5 innings, just the 1 run, throwing the ball very, very well.
Well, Manny Machado, who has started 2 key double plays tonight, leads off the 6th, taking ball 1. Machado, Scope, and then Trumbo due up. The foul ball back, and the count is 1-1. Ground ball headed out to second. Big hop there for Beckham. And they get Machado second to first to begin the 6th inning. Now Jonathan Scope. Struck out and grounded out. A very hot hitter coming in to this series. 305 overall, 3rd in the league, and runs batted in. Blake Snell starts him with a strike. Off speed.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more of that. Again, after establishing the fastball early in the game, now some first pitch change-ups. Try to continue to keep this lineup off balance. How about that? Followed up with a curveball, and now you're 0-2.
Well, I'll tell you what we've seen tonight out of Blake Snell has been impressive, and a major step in the right direction.
Man, this is as sharp as we've seen him in a long time, and maintaining it. You'll see it in short bursts, and then all of a sudden it becomes unraveled rather quickly. He has maintained and been consistent all night.
And with the fastball there, up.
And now change eye level, come right back down with curveball, the slider, whatever you want. This is how fun it is, or fun it can be when you're pitching from out in front.
And this one in on him, that fastball in on the hands there.
Yeah. Well, that's a pitch where you're just, fastball's a challenge pitch. A fastball in is a real challenge pitch, and hitters don't like to get beat in there, and pitchers understand that, if that ball leaks back across the middle, there's a chance I could get hurt here in a big way.
2 off speed down. On deck, Mark Trumbo. And a cut and a miss, and boy, what a nice job right there on a hot hitter, Jonathan Scope, out on strikes.
Establish everything. Start him off with the slow stuff, couple of hard fastballs, come back with a nasty slider, the back foot variety, perfectly located.
Yeah, that's a great sequence of pitches right there by Snell.
And it starts by getting ahead, and when he gets ahead with his secondary pitches, that could be the norm. Has been tonight.
Pitch down and in to Trumbo, 1-0. Trumbo singled up the right side in the 4th inning, eventually raced on a double play. That's in there around the knees. 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Only run of this game came in the 3rd on a home run by Adam Jones with 1 out in the 3rd. 3 balls and a strike. 3-2 with Joseph in the second. 3-2 to Tejada in the second inning. 3-1 to Trumbo in the fourth, and he's 3-1 with him here in the sixth inning. Now full count. He walked Rickard on 4 pitches with 2 outs in the fifth. That's when Ramos had to leave after he was struck on the head by a broken bat. And Snell then recovered and got Jones on a fly ball to right to end that inning. Full count to Trumbo. And a popper into short right. Souza Jr. makes the catch, and that's 6 innings of 1-run baseball tonight for Snell. Rays down 1-0.
Here's the big story. The team that the Rays are tied with in the wild card race, Jorge Bonifacio off of Justin Verlander, what may be his last start as a Detroit Tiger. Already trailing 2-0. He gets him for a solo shot in the 6th inning, and now the Royals up 3-0. Where did they come from? I mean, when we saw them, they were talking about maybe selling the farm.
Well, you know, you see there, the Rays are sandwiched between Kansas City and Minnesota. And when we saw those two teams, you didn't think they would be where they are now.
No. South of Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan Longoria leads off, taking the pitch for a strike. But the way this league stacks up, anything could happen. That's why, you know, the Rays want to avoid going into a situation of a number of losses over a stretch here, and so they've lost 4 in a row. Not good, but not disastrous to this point. The chop to the left side, scoop by Machado. That glove wide open as he scooped it, made a nice play. Well, he has been very good, and what else is new down there at third base tonight.
We've seen Evan Longoria make this play quite a bit, where you've got a charge and you're still going to get an in-between hop. You flip that glove open like a butterfly net, as wide as it can go, and there you go. You make that play, makes it look pretty easy, and that play is anything but extremely difficult. Even looked away. Couldn't bear to see.
Just open that glove and look away.
I mean, really, you are. The ball's coming at you with topspin, a chopper. You're charging it at an angle, and you're putting your glove where your brain has dictated where that hop's going to end up. He didn't even look it into the glove.
This one popped toward the line. Foul ball back at third. And there he is again with a little backwards tumble, but he hangs on after making the catch. And Logan Morrison is out, courtesy of Machado.
He had to go a long way for that pop-up. You can see where he's at in the shift right there. Off he goes. Almost overruns it just a hair. You got to reach back.
Blowing a bubble in the process.
Too easy.
The catch and then the backward roll.
That's baseball right there.
So the bases are empty, courtesy of Manny Machado. And here's Jesus Sucre, his first at bat. He takes a strike. Took over in the 5th from Ramos, who was struck on a broken bat.
I'll tell you what, I mean, there's 2 outs in the inning, but the Rays offense, you'd like to see it come to life here before you get too much deeper. You start bringing in the back end of that Oriole bullpen on top of what Gausman's been able to do tonight.
Yep.
That's not a good combo. We talked about Zach Britton in the pregame show. 55 consecutive saves. American League record.
1-2. That's a fair ball. Up the right field line, and Sucre has a base hit. Now bobble out there, and Sucre's going to go for 2, and he is safe at second base. The ball loose. Sucre a little slow in getting up. He saw that ball loose up the right field line from Rickard. He decided to take off for second and runs that into a double.
How about that? It looked like that was going to be a single. Joey Rickard got to that ball rather quickly and going to keep Sucre at first base. First of all, he's able to get to this pitch away, keep it fair up the right field line, and then the slide. And when it came loose, you're right, Dwayne, Sucre said, I'm going for it. They still had a chance to get him, but that ball not able to be corralled by Tejada, and even the tag would have been late.
So here's Brad Miller. See if the Rays can make something of this. Some great hustle by Sucre. A ball, no strikes. The count on Miller.
Get those legs loose. May need to score. Although they should be already.
Big cut to miss. 1-1 action. Starting in the bullpen, Darren O'Day, the veteran right-hander. Miller is struck out and singled tonight. Fouls it right back into the screen. That fastball still up there at 96.
These situations will tend to up the adrenaline, up the velocity. Whatever you have left, you're letting it go here because you realize what's at stake. A 1-run lead, a runner out at second base. Dangerous hitter at the plate. These are max effort pitches.
And a swing and a miss. That retires the side, and the Rays leave a man at second base. Swings over this one on the splitter. 1-0 Baltimore.
On Fox Sports Sun, the Rays have just announced Wilson Ramos out of tonight's game after being hit or struck on the head by a broken bat. The team saying that he has a laceration on his head. He just had 6 staples applied to his head, and he will be continued to be evaluated. Ramos right now is day to day. Dwayne?
All right, you said 6 staples. Is that
yes. Right? Yep, 6 staples.
All right, well, we'll hope for the best there. Thanks for that update. We're going to go to the 7th. Jesus Sucre has taken over behind the plate, doubled, hustled his way into a double in the 6th inning, but was left on base. On to the 7th we go. Here's Trey Mancini. And the pitch is a strike. Mancini's grounded out and popped out. This one into left field, closing. Dickerson is there to make the catch. That ball started to sink. Dickerson just kept on coming and got there to make the grab.
A nice job by Corey Dickerson out in left field, and we've seen him make a lot of nice plays out there for the Rays this season. Attack that baseball. Goes down with the slide after out number 1, and you cannot afford Baltimore any more runs here, so every play huge.
There's Wellington Castillo. Pitch is upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. One and one. 6 1/3 for Snell. 3 times he has walked 6 2/3 in his brief big league career. That's a strike. It's 1 and 2.
I love the way that he's using this changeup as the game is moving along, and that's all set up by the fastball. Fastball command, better counts. This is the Blake Snell that you envisioned from day 1.
Into the dirt, 1 and 1. Or 2 and 2, I beg your pardon. 1 out, nobody on, and a 2 ball, 2 strike count to Castillo. No play. Holds the count right there. Caleb Joseph is on deck. Here's the Baltimore catcher. And there's a fastball foul back, mid-90s fastball. Hickey seeing what he had envisioned out of Snell. And that will take care of Castillo. Breaking ball.
Yeah, now he's getting the curveball into the act. Fastball first, the slider off of that. Game moves on. Here comes the changeup. And now we're going to go with the 2-strike curveball. He has the entire arsenal working here tonight. I mean, that's nasty.
That's a pretty good 4th pitch right there.
Tell me about it. But this is what you see from Blake Snell in snippets. Tonight you're getting the view of it across 6 2/3 so far of what he's capable of doing when he pounds the zone and pitches from out in front.
Want to know the count to Caleb Joseph? That'll be a strike right at the bottom of the zone. 1 and 1. And he misses a little bit wide. 2 balls and a strike. 3 balls and a strike. Another fastball, and that one just a tad high. And a little number, right side, Beckham up, and the toss to first. And for the first time in Blake Snell's career, he has logged 7 innings in a major league start. 1-0 Baltimore. Sports Sun is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers and by Pinch a Penny, the perfect people for a perfect pool. 1-0 ball game. We're in the middle of the 7th inning. Super Rays fans assemble next Saturday when the Rays host the Brewers for an interleague matchup. First 15,000 fans receive a Rays-themed Marble Iron Man figurine presented by Crown Automotive Group. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Seven innings for Blake Snell. 102 pitches for the young lefty. Down 1-0. And Darren O'Day will take over, the veteran right-hander. Gossman worked 6. And now O'Day.
This is the best bit of news for the Rays. Maybe not the best. The performance of Blake Snell front and center. But Darren O'Day coming on, getting Kevin Gossman out of the game. He's so good here tonight.
Gossman 98 pitches, 6 innings. No runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. And now Darren O'Day will face Tim Beckham. Pitch is a strike.
How about that? Gossman's last 3 starts against the Rays, now covering 20 2/3 innings, almost 7 per, and he has yet to give up a run.
Well, the Rays happy to have him out of the game.
Yeah, and when you watch him pitch, even the 2 starts against the Rays this year, you're like, how does this guy have a 7 or a 6 ERA, 1.75 WHIP?
Yep.
How does that happen? Dominant.
Yeah, we have not seen it happen against the Rays for sure. 0-2 the count on Beckham. It's wide. Alex Smith on deck. Beckham sends a fly ball down the right field line toward the corner. That is foul. As Rickard came into contact with that low wall, that ball out of play.
Well, he was hustling hard after it, trying to run that ball into a catch or run it foul. Off the bat, you're thinking, boy, he could sneak one down the line here. Slides right into it. Interesting move right there. Really the only move right there. You hit that thing running full speed and talk about doing a header.
Everything away from Beckham here from Darren O'Day. And now just in.
Worked it full. And now hopefully can force a pitch out over the plate. Darren O'Day gives you that arm angle. Not quite submarine style, but close enough. And seeing a number of pitches is only going to help.
Beckham has a couple career at bats against him, 1 of 2. And now a full count. Fouls this one. Smith next, and then Echeverria. Again, a foul ball, so a prolonged at bat for Beckham against O'Day. The 34-year-old right-hander. And ball 4. So a nice job by Beckham. He saw a lot of pitches and eventually draws a leadoff walk.
But from the, that's exactly what the Rays need here from the bottom of the order as it gets late. Kevin Gausman tonight, you couldn't have asked for more of your Buck Showalter. He came out and had a very lively heater. We saw that sitting around 94, got it up to 98 miles an hour, was able to pitch out of a couple of jams, get bases loaded, got some help from his defense with some outstanding double plays. Manny Machado's played a heck of a game down there at third base, and he will lead this game after those 6 innings scoreless.
Move to first, and Beckham back in there head first. Alex Smith tonight at the plate has walked and tripled. Was left on second base in the 3rd inning and left at 3rd after the leadoff triple in the 5th. Pitch is down. See him showing the bunt. And getting very closely acquainted with Machado. Charging in from 3rd.
Yeah, even further in than he was the last time Alex Smith was in this situation.
And there's a bunt. It's a foul ball. 1-1.
Good job, guys.
Day coming off an outing 2 days ago in which he took the loss against Houston. Gave up 3 hits and 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. He's on the 22nd. And again over to first. Beckham back in. Rays have had base runners in every inning except the second. They left 6 men on base and have put the leadoff man aboard in the bottom of the 7th in a 1-0 ball game. Foul right back into the screen.
Well, the last time that the Rays saw Darren O'Day, that was back on June the 30th, and they got to him for 3 earned runs in an inning of work. So they've had some success off the Oriole righty.
And a cut and a miss. Alex Smith out on strikes, retired for the first time tonight, and is the first out here in the 7th.
A little bit of an emergency hack there by Alex Smith as this ball's going to start off the plate away, and then recognizing late the slider, and you can see how tardy he was. That ball's able to sneak by him.
Yeah, that's one of the elements of O'Day, and you saw Beckham battling that, finally drew the walk. You're never quite sure how much movement is going to be on one of his pitches. To Danny Echeverria. He takes a strike. He has struck out and grounded out to third so far. One on, one out. Echeverria started after it, but checked. 1-1. Echeverria with 2 hits and 2 career at bats against O'Day. This one fouled into the screen. Puts him behind 1-2.
And he was able to run that fastball to 88 and run it up and in. Darren O'Day not afraid to use both sides of the plate, right-handers, left-handers. And now you think about that, setting up that sweeping breaking ball away. Make him aware of the fastball in and then try to pull something away.
And it's too far out there.
That's a good take, though.
2-2.
That ball comes out of the hand. It's staying out over that plate for quite a while before it finally sweeps off. And you see a lot of hitters go after that pitch. Echeverria did not.
A 2-2 count, and it's fouled right back into the screen. O'Day started his career in the Angels organization, young man out of Jacksonville, and was originally signed by Tom Kochman, father of Casey Kochman. Started in the Angels system. Spent some time in the big leagues with the Angels briefly, and the Mets, then to Texas, and now Baltimore. There's a shot into right. Rickard over to make the catch, and now Beckham's going to have to scramble to get back to first, and he is doubled up at first base. Rickard made the catch and doubles up Beckham. who was at second base at the time of the catch. And that ends this inning.
And Rickard tracks it down and a strong throw to Trumbo. That's a tough mistake to where he was selling out. Inning over.
Up to the 8th. If race pitchers strike out 10 hitters during a home game, visit CanesStrikeout.com and pick up a printed home voucher. Take that to Canes Furniture Store within 7 days and receive a coupon for a free Whopper sandwich combo meal from Burger King. Well, the Rays lose the base runner on the double play. Beckham doubled off first. We go to the 8th. Still 1-0 Baltimore. And Blake Snell, who had 102 pitches through 7 innings, opens the 8th and misses on the first pitch to Ruben Tejada. Joey Rickard next, and then Adam Jones. A strike at the knees, 1-1. Sergio Romo up in the bullpen for the Rays. Just put on the roster. Foul ball. Fastball fouled straight back. 1-2. Well, it's been an impressive night for Blake Snell. Touch for the home run in the 3rd. That's the only run of the game. Line drive and a base hit through the hole on the left side. Tejada is aboard.
Well, Blake Snell with that curveball. We saw him get the strikeout of Castillo with it. He's going for it right here. That one just caught a little bit too much air up in the zone, and that allowed Tejada to shorten his swing and get to it. And Longoria with instructions here, thinking about a bunt defense. Responsibilities, what they're going to do. No margin for error here.
Rickard the hitter. Snell working here in the 8th. A career high 7 innings under his belt in the big leagues. Pitch is up. Ball, no strikes, 107 pitches right now for Snell. He made 113 pitches back in May. That was that start at Boston. And then he went to Durham. There's a strike, 1-1.
Been awfully good with that changeup here. Showing good arm speed, good arm action. enough off of the fastball in that 8 to 10 mile an hour range.
A little lob over to first. Tejada back in. Adam Jones, he'll be next. Now the bunt, first base side, rolling, and that's going to stay fair. Well, the Rays thought maybe that would roll foul, and it appeared actually to hit a little divot or something, and that helped it stay fair.
Well, perfectly placed. Later in the at-bat, bunted right up the first base line. And Logan Morrison is going to take a calculated risk here. And you can see the disgust, the way he picked that ball up. There's that little divot you're talking about, Dwayne.
Well, that's going to be it for Blake Snell. Great job by the young lefty. Call to the bullpen, brought to you by the Florida Lottery. The Rays make a pitching change. The Florida Lottery presents the Family of the Week for Life scratch-offs with a top prize of $5,000 a week every week for the rest of your life. The longer you live, the more you keep winning. That's Winfinity. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly.
Well, Blake Snell, it could not have been much better here tonight. He came out and really set the tone early after he gave up that leadoff double. Had a runner on third with nobody out. Gets 2 punch outs, gets out of that inning. And the fastball, he established that in on these right-handed hitters early in the game. And did a nice job with the slider as the game went along. The changeup, the curveball came into play. And he put together a tremendous outing. 7+, 1 earned run so far. Just 1 walk. How critical was that? And pitched ahead in the count for the majority of the night.
Well, a very impressive outing for Blake Snell, and now the game in the hands of Sergio Romo. And if you like sliders, you're going to see him here. 1-0 the count to Adam Jones. And there's another one. And a check. 2-0.
Sergio Romo has a chance to be a very quiet pickup that pays big dividends for the Rays. You can see appeared in 545 games, a heck of a career, a lot of high leverage postseason runs with the Giants.
Yeah, 3 world championships with the Giants.
Oh, you win that time.
It's 2010, 12, and 14.
Adam Jones not real happy with the call of Joe West right there, but
2-1 the count. Romo, 10-year veteran. There's a base hit into center field. Smith with the pickups, and the bases are going to be loaded. Tejada saw that one through and stopped at third. Rickard now at second, and Jones has a 3-for-4 night. The only time he was retired in the fifth on that good play by Souza Jr.
And tried to surprise him with the fastball after this steady diet of sliders. Adam Jones, boy, showing a quick bat. Think about that fastball that he was able to homer on the fastball in from Blake Snell. So the hands right now lively and raising a little bit of trouble in that infield in.
Manny Machado, the hitter. And a ground ball up the middle. Tejada scores. Rickard's going to come to the plate. Over to third goes Jones. And Machado with a base hit. That will make it a 3-0 ball game as Romo is greeted by back-to-back hits from Jones and Machado.
Right back up the middle. This was the breaking ball. And with the infield in, Machado's thinking about just hitting the ball hard somewhere, finds an opening. And what you did not want to see, the Orioles lengthening that lead in the later innings.
So 4 hits, 2 runs home, men at first and third, and here is Jonathan Schoop as the infield stays in. A swing and a miss. Schoop 0 for 3, a couple strikeouts against Snell. Well, these runs charged to Snell. So 3 runs in 7+ innings against the lefty. One and one. Ready to get Chase Whitley up, and he starts to limber in the bullpen. A strike. 1-2. Machado back in at first. Base hit for Machado, driving in 2, gives him 52 runs batted in on the year, and sends Jones to third. 1-2 to Schoop. Will be wide. 2-2.
And the Romo slider, when it's going, you think about Darren O'Day's slider, same idea. You're trying to spin that thing and keep it, on the plate, out in front of a hitter's eyes for a long time before finally it ends up off the plate, either swing and miss or off the end of the bat.
And the take there by Schoop.
I mean, that thing looked like, it looks like it takes a left-hand turn. About halfway to the plate, boy, just shoots. Able to spin that so tight.
The count full. Two and a fly ball into left. Dickerson will be there to make the catch. Tag at third. Jones will score. Machado, who had broken on the pitch, will go back to first, and Schoop picks up a run batted in. It's 4-0 Baltimore. The Orioles have scored 3 in the 8th. Now Machado at first with 1 out. And Mark Trumbo about to step in. Strike on the outside corner. Lifted up the right side. That's a foul ball and is out of play. 0-2. Brad Brock, he's been up limbering in the bullpen. Machado aboard on for the first time, but it was a big hit to get 2 runs across the plate. Upstairs.
Hey, shoot me up. I throw harder than 84.
1 ball, 2 strikes. There's a cut and a miss. So the slider strikes out Trumbo. 2 gone here in the 8th. Tomorrow on Rays Live, here's what's coming up. The pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Jake Perea will be on the mound for the Rays. We'll hear from him, and Orestes will break down the Orioles third baseman Manny Machado. Machado's had a good night in the field tonight and driving in 2 with a base hit here in the 8th. Breaks. The pitch is a strike as the ball pops away from Sucre. So a stolen base for Machado.
And Baltimore would like to get out of this 4-run range. I mean, obviously very happy to have a 4-run lead, but often you hear managers talking about getting out of grand slam range, and so with 2 outs, Machado off, trying to get that 5th run.
One and 1 the count.
Hey, good job, Cash. Way to bring this in.
Well, Mancini hitting over 430 with men in scoring position. Ball, 2 strikes. It's wide. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three runs, 4 hits for the Orioles. Man in scoring position and a 2-2 count on Mancini. Down to third. Longoria makes the throw to first. Mancini's out of there. But the Orioles widen the lead with a 3-run frame. It's 4-0. Bottom of the 8th coming up, our bonefish catch of the game. Manny Machado in the middle of these highlights, starting a double play, taking a double away from Longoria to close out the first.
Well, listen, he's one of the best in the game for a reason, and it's been on full display here tonight, making a ton of plays. I still go back to that double play that he started on that one-hop liner up the line. Even making this catch and managing to fall gracefully, but the 2 throws in that double play, his to Scope #1, and then Scope's over to first base, putting on a display for sure.
No changes for the Orioles, and in the middle of the diamond, Brad Brock will take over on the mound. And his first pitch to Steven Souza Jr. is a fastball too high. Trey Mancini takes over at first, moving in from left, and Seth Smith is the new left fielder. So Trumbo out of the game. Pitch up a bit. (16 of 20 in save situations for Brock, making his 43rd appearance. A high fly ball into left field. Smith back in front of the track and makes the catch a couple steps from the track. One gone in the 8th.
Number 10, left fielder Corey Dickerson.
Corey Dickerson. Dickerson 0 for 2 with a walk. It's a strike to Dickerson. Dickerson reached on a walk in the 3rd and struck out and has grounded into a 5-4-3 double play. Cues this one the other way, foul.
Yeah, that was the at-bat that really frustrated Corey Dickerson. Just trying to put the ball in play, and he pokes it to the left side, and here comes Machado once again. Runners on the corners, and that threat would go for naught. Frustrating starting that inning off with the triple.
Pops it up short right, and that's Scope out from second base to make the catch. 2 away. So the bases are going to be empty with Evan Longoria approaching the plate. Rays Live, the postgame coming up, presented by W.B. Mason. Evan Gossman, impressive for 6 shutout innings, and Rich and Orestes will break that down. We'll hear from Kevin Cash in the press conference. Alex will have interviews from the clubhouse. Longoria looks out of strike. One and one. Six for Gossman, 1 for O'Day, who struck out 1 and walked 1. And Brock, a little bit of a crossfire, misses wide. It's 2 and 1.
Well, he gives you a different look too. You know, Buck Showalter loves that. He loves to have relievers coming out of that bullpen with different looks, different arsenals, styles of pitching. You think about O'Day.
And there's a base hit. Longoria takes him the other way. And sometimes with what you see from Brock, that's the one thing you might be able to do.
Yeah, well, he's 6'5", and he does have the crossfire action and tries to yank that ball down and away. And the one thing that you can do, especially get that second baseman shading up the middle, is not try to do too much. Just shoot the ball the other way, take your base hit, and move on. But, you know, again, with Brad Brock's style, Zach Britton, the closer, Michael Givens even, a local kid from Tampa, and he's, you know, sidearm guy that's going to get in the mid-90s.
Logan Morrison takes a look too low. 1 ball, no strikes. The cut and a miss. It's 1-1. Morrison has had a tough time against this right-hander. Rockies 0 for 8 against him. It's a foul ball back. Takes the count to 1-2. Well, 2 impressive outings by the young starters. Chase Whitley's up in that bullpen. Blake Snell gave the Rays 7 innings plus, and when he left the game, had given up only 1 run, left with a couple men on, and they eventually scored. Gausman 6 shutout innings for Baltimore. 2-2.
And then you turn it over to this bullpen, which is why it was imperative for the Rays. They want to make things easier on themselves, keep that at a 1-run game, and weren't able to do that. Some big hits by the Orioles in the top half, and now have a long way to go against some tough pitchers. But you know what? Another walk here, or a walk here, getting 2 runners aboard. Any way that Logan Morrison can get on. He's worked a nice at bat against Brock.
He fell behind in the count. Now it's full. Two, and he walks. With 2 outs, the Rays put 2 men on. Jesus Sucre will be the hitter. Well, the Toyota inside look. The Rays having a difficult time scoring runs in this stretch, and you can see in the last 5 games as a team just 5 for 38 with men in scoring position.
Man, that's tough. That's tough for those kind of numbers during a stretch where, for the most part, Rays pitching has been pretty good, keeping them around, keeping them close, and that just have not been able to get the big hit. Maybe this guy.
Well, he's done it before. Look at that. Impressive numbers with men in scoring position. Even better with 2 men out. 1-0 the count.
This is what you're looking for. A couple of base runners, a bad count, 1 swing of the bat.
Ooh, and a big cut right there on the fastball. Mid-90s fastball from Brock, and it's 2-1.
Sucre was going for it right there. He gave himself a shot at it. 2-0. Got to get a heater, and he turns it loose.
The 2-1. It's fouled out of play. Another fastball. Rays have had runners on base in every inning except the second. Left the bases loaded in the 3rd. Single runners aboard in the 4th and 5th innings. And in scoring position in the 4th and 6th. Up the right side, foul down toward the bullpen. Sucre battling up there.
I'm trying to keep things simple now. You know, the 2-0 count, you turn it loose and give yourself a chance here. Now 2-2, you're just trying to feed that ball into the field somewhere. Find an opening, extend this inning, maybe drive in a run or two.
Well, count's going to go full.
Well, we get the base runners moving. That helps.
Good Buck Showalter in the Baltimore dugout. Three-two, runners go, and a swing and a miss. Sucre out on strikes, and the Rays leave 2 in the 8th. We're going to head into the 9th inning. Rays still looking for their first run. That pitch running away from Sucre. 4-0 Baltimore. Jake Ferreira will go to the mound tomorrow for the Rays in the middle game of this series. We'll be with you at 6:30 to begin our coverage. Jake making his 9th start of the year, looking for his 5th win, 4-1.
Well, he's been impressive. Has been very impressive for the Rays, and every time he goes out there, he is fun to watch as he continues to develop here at the big league level.
Be opposed by the left-hander Wade Miley. A wrap-up game here on Wednesday. Waldo Jimenez against Alex Cobb. On to the 9th we go, and Chase Whitley will be the new pitcher for the Rays following Sergio Romo. Castillo bounces this one foul. He is the DH. Strike one. And a soft fly ball into left, going to drop in front of Dickerson for a base hit. So Castro is aboard. Castillo, after a couple of ground outs and a strikeout. Wellington Castillo singles here to open the 9th. That's the 9th hit for Baltimore. It's Caleb Joseph. And a strike. chopped to short. Charged now by Echeverria, who makes the play, and Castillo heads up to second. Three runs charged to Snell and one to Romo. Richard Blyer up in the bullpen for Baltimore.
Right now, Baltimore up by 4 runs, not a save situation, so no Zach Britton as of yet. Rays would certainly like to see him. You don't often say that, but you're going to have to get into some save territory to do that. And that would mean a 9th inning push here, which is what they're going to need, and a big one as it is right now. They're down 4-0.
Ruben Tejada, who opened the 3-run 8th with a base hit, up with Castillo at second and 1 out. Pitch is low. Now 3-0. And a strike at the knees, 3-1. Whitley last worked Wednesday. Touch for a run in 2 innings out in Oakland. This one is fouled out of play, so the count is full. The home run to Matt Joyce in that game in Oakland on Wednesday. Trying to keep this game and the deficit at 4. The right side, that will slice out of play and provide Tejada with another pitch to see. Again, a 3-2. Lifted into center. Alex Smith will be there to make the catch. He'll turn, and over to third goes Castillo. He's there with 2 outs. Joey Rickard will be the hitter. With a man at third, 2 gone. He's been on twice. Down a bunt and got credit for a base hit in the 8th. That's when the Orioles expanded a 1-0 lead into a 4-run lead. Ground ball, shortstop. Echeverria up and out with the throw, and it cannot be scooped cleanly by Morrison, and that allows the run to score. That makes it a 5-0 game. That'll be an error charge to Echeverria on the throw.
Well, Rickard runs well, and you can see Echeverria get around that baseball and try to get rid of it quickly. And that throw just a short hop, and Logan Morrison not quite able to handle it. You can see the ball up and right off the heel of the glove. Well, you don't see that too many times from Echeverria, and Logan Morrison has been so good for the Rays over there at first base with those scoops. It's been that kind of a night. A lot of close but no cigar. It's been really a rough little stretch here for the Rays, going all the way back to that Wednesday game against Oakland. Then the day off, and then the very difficult series against the Rangers.
Adam Jones, who opened the scoring with a third-inning home run, actually opened the game with that double of Blake Snell, who recovered and left him on base in that inning, striking out Machado and Scope and getting the pop off the bat of Trumbo. But Jones then homered in the third, singled and scored in the eighth, and swings through this one to take the count to a ball, 2 strikes in the ninth. So Baltimore with 5 runs home, 3 in the eighth and 1 more in the ninth inning to extend a 1-0 lead into 5-0. Liner into right. Souza Jr. makes the catch. Top of the ninth is over. A run scores unearned, and it's 5-0 Baltimore. The Baltimore Orioles in the last couple of innings have built a 5-0 lead. It was 1-0 at the end of 7. And 2 outstanding starting pitching jobs by Blake Snell and Kevin Gossman tonight. Brad Miller against Lyer. The first pitch, backhand stop by Machado, and the throw to first gets him. Boy, what a night it continues to be for Machado. He's done everything and more at third base, and this play to open the bottom of the ninth just indicative of the kind of superb night he's had defensively for Baltimore.
Just continues to make highlight reel play after highlight reel play, and he has got this throw mastered. Moving away, the sidearm flip with that much on it. Nice job there by Trumbo going down there to make that play. Well, that's Mancini going down there to make that play. But I'll tell you, that throw, and we've seen it plenty. We've seen it a couple times here tonight. It's amazing how much he gets on it and how accurate he is with it.
Yeah, is there a play he cannot make?
No.
I mean, there have been plays tonight that he has no business making, and he's made them no problem.
You see guys get to those balls, but that throw is not coming out.
Yep.
So they may get the first half of the play done. They're certainly not going to finish it off the way that he has.
Ground ball to shortstop by Beckham, and Tejada throws him out. Two up, two down in the ninth inning. The Rays on the verge of dropping their 5th in a row, which would drop them to just 2 games over 500. 29th appearance for Blyer. And 2 ground ball outs in the ninth. There's Malik Smith. And that strike, says Joe West. Gossman, who started in line to pick up his 7th win, and Snell appears to be on his way to 0-6, although he pitched very well tonight, and that's the one thing the Rays can take away from tonight, is how well Blake Snell pitched.
He deserved a better fate. There's no question about it. And I just loved the body language. I loved his tempo. I loved the way that he established the fastball early, the fastball in. He challenged a very powerful lineup with fastballs in early in the game. The slider, he played off of that. The changeup came along as the game went along. Curveball made an appearance.
He was a confident pitcher who pitched with a mission, and he set the pace. It was a rapid pace tonight.
Well, the Orioles got his attention early. Adam Jones, the double, get over to third base with nobody out, and then he went to work and didn't stop working until he came out of the game.
1-2 on Malik Smith against the lefty Blyer. Fights it off, fouls it. Smith has walked, he tripled, got his 3rd triple of the year in the 5th, struck out in the 7th. Blyer, the 4th Baltimore pitcher. Rays utilize Snell, Romo, and Whitley tonight. Ground ball, backhanded by Blyer, and the throw to first. This one is over. 3 ground ball outs in the ninth, 3 up and 3 down. And a combination shutout by Gausman, O'Day, Brock, and Blyer, and a 5-0 decision for the Orioles over the Rays. For Brian Anderson and Alex Cordry, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast, if not the outcome. 5-0 Baltimore over the Rays. Took 3 hours and 4 minutes to play it. Rays Live, the postgame presented by WB Mason, is next.